Hey, Lance McAllister here from 700 WLW. When I need the latest high school football coverage, I turn to the radio voice of the LaSalle Lancers, Barrett Cohen, and WLSN Radio, the worldwide leader in high school sports.
With DeVier Posey early this week, correct?
I did. We talked about a range of topics, including tennis balls, his mentor, which I think might surprise some of you out there. But we started out by talking about how much he's grown from this time about a month and a half ago to now.
Oh, just the amount of knowledge that you get, in a short amount of time. And just, to have the ability to, to consume that knowledge and go out on the field and do everything right. So I feel like, where I've grown is, hearing some verbiage and being able to know where to line up and, know where route depth I need to get to and, where I need to catch the ball. And it's just like all timing and all sequence. So just want to make sure you're on point with everything.
Even though you didn't play as many games as you would have liked to last season, you still practiced the whole year. Mm-hmm. How far off are you, do you think, from, catching up to game speed, if at all?
I don't even really think I'm off. I just feel like, it's just adjusting to the pro game and the speed of the pros and, going full speed every single rep. And everything is graded. Every amount of effort is looked at. So, I just think for me, the biggest thing between last year and this year is, just turning my game up from a college player to a pro player.
Ohio State's pumped so many great players into the NFL. Mm-hmm. There's kind of an alumni base I know that you can sort of interact with. Who are some of those guys that were Buckeyes that you kind of leaned on and asked for guidance, and what sort of stuff did they tell you?
Oh, well, it's guys. That's a great thing about going to school like that, Those guys come back, they loved Ohio State, and just guys like Donald Washington, Thaddeus Gibson, James Laurinaitis, Malcolm Jenkins, Dane Sanzabaka, Brian Hartline, Ryan Rubisky, Anthony Gonzalez, Bobby Carpenter, A.J. Hawk, guys like that, they all come around still. So anytime they're in the building, and we also had a coach on staff, Mike Vrabel, so anytime they're in the building, it's always great to pick their brain.
What sort of stuff did you ask Vrabel? That's a really interesting viewpoint,
Oh, just, what to expect as a rookie, what the right way to attack things, the right way to, handle the veterans, the right way to do things, and for the most part, he was open and honest because, he has so many years of experience, you want to just make sure you're listening.
Andre Johnson checked in at 15 on the NFL Network's top 100 of 2011 players. What did you know about him before you got here?
Oh, man, I know he's a hell of a player, man. I've watched his highlights, plenty of times. I feel like, I can tell you him back to back. So, just for me, it's just an honor to be able to, have my locker right next to his and be able to, just practice and, see the way he prepares.
You're a rookie, but believe it or not, there are guys who've been in the league 6-7 years in this locker room who kind of get nervous around Andre Johnson. What's that like when you talk to him, and how much do you get to talk with him?
Oh, man, he's a normal guy, man. A lot of people say he's quiet, but, he comes in, we say hello every day, we talk, we have a small conversation, whatever it is, we talk about the game. He's a good dude, man. I don't feel any intimidation. He's a receiver, and I want to learn from him.
Was he bigger than you thought he was when you got here? When you saw him up close, was he a bigger dude?
Nah, anytime, I thought he was a lot bigger than what he was, because he looks like a monster in pads, but, when you get to see him, I really feel like, he's a big dude, though.
One of the things we heard about you and we saw about you in the run-up to OTAs, minicamps, and everything was you catching tennis balls from a tennis ball machine. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of explain a little bit more about that and what that meant, what that did for you?
Well, I've been getting mentored by Chris Carter since, my sophomore year. He always told me, keep a tennis ball wherever you go. If you can ask anybody in the facility, anytime they see me, I always have a tennis ball. I'm bouncing off the walls before practice, after practice, when I'm in the training room. If you could look at my locker, I got tennis balls everywhere. It's just my thing, I feel like if I can catch a tennis ball, I can catch a football anytime. Football comes at you, looks like a volleyball. So, anytime I get free time when I go home, my girlfriend, her father is the head director at an athletic club. So I just get on the tennis course, I load the machine up, and I just put my iPod in, and I go for about an hour and a half. And it's just shooting in all directions, and I just try to catch as many as I can. And when I'm at Ohio State, they have a tennis ball machine. So, it's just my little thing. I always just catch tennis balls because a lot of people said I had shaky hands, so I make sure I catch 1,000 tennis balls a day.
Do you ever have any slip-ups with that thing?
I got hit in the eye before, but for the most part, I'm used to it. It's just a tennis ball, but I've got to the point where I can catch the laces on the tennis ball, and for me, just being able to eye that up I mean, it works out well. I mean, I don't really think I had a drop during OTAs or minicamp, so I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing because it's obviously working.
The laces on a tennis ball, so what do the laces on a football look like after you do all that?
I don't know, man. It's just, I'll show you. It's pretty easy. I mean, you just got these right here, and then once you can eye it up when it's coming at you, I mean, you can just catch it. Anytime you can see these little white things come at you, and they come at you pretty fast.
Has it caught on with any of your teammates here yet?
I don't know, man. It's kind of my thing. I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I mean, I told people that I'm trying to find a tennis club around here, so if anybody has some suggestions, just let me know. I'll come by.
What's next for you? You got about, roughly a month, end of July before things start up. What do you do to kind of hone your skills, get ready for training camp?
Oh, just, make sure cardio is number one, staying in shape, getting lean and mean for camp, getting ready, getting the muscles loose every day because, you got a long, 6 months coming in front of you. So I just want to make sure, I'm prepared and I'm ready. I mean, you also got to take some relaxation time, clear your head, maybe a little small vacay, but, it's back to work after that.
Do you like doing interviews in the locker room with nice background music like this?
It's always good to have some background music, to do a little 1-2 step when you need to, getting out of the shower and everything.
1-2 step, Texas, known for the 2-step. That's country music. Doesn't really jive with this music so much, but it's good that you're thinking that way.
Exactly. It's the same thing all in all. Country music, this music, it's the 1-2.
DeVier Posey, thanks so much for your time, man. Best of luck to you over the course of the next month.
Appreciate that, man.
Thanks, man.
I'm not sure if that's 100% correct. The 1-2-1. It's a little different. The country compared to what they were listening to.
Slow, fast.
Slow, fast.
Don't look here. Just talk amongst yourselves.
For dancers, dancing tips. Mike Meltzer's the wrong guy. Interesting interview. The whole thing with the tennis balls. So he literally would just go to a tennis club, turn the machine on, and just run around and catch tennis balls that are being fired in his direction for an hour and a half.
He's done that. He has, it's like you said, they fire him out. Foop, foop, foop.
Yeah.
When I was out in Lubbock, I covered the Red Raiders, their football team. Mike Leach was a big proponent of that.
Really?
I don't know if he was the first, but he had all of his receivers, starting from day one when he got there in 2000, catch tennis balls because he wanted to improve their hands.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah. Doesn't it seem intuitively like it would help you a lot?
It's like swinging a bat with a donut. The bat's lighter when you get in the circle. But think about the guys he pumped out. Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Michael Crabtree. I mean, they had some success and are having some success now. So it's one of those things that's really interesting. And
interesting. The
first guy that I've seen outside of that program really use it. So pretty fun stuff. That video is going to be up later today on HoustonTexans.com. All of this show, this Texans All Access, will be in podcast form in just a few hours. And you can also listen live anytime you want on the Texans mobile app. You just text Texans to 51288.
Just a quick minute or two here before we get to our final break. But so what's the wide receiver situation going to be? That's the one question everyone wants to know the answer to.
Posey is interesting.
No idea. He's a very interesting guy.
I've gone on record on this station as saying that I've liked the guy. He always scared me. I'm a big Michigan fan. He always scared me at Ohio State, scored touchdowns in each of the last 2 games those schools played. And you got to keep in mind when you look at Ohio State, they have not had great quarterback play in the last 2 years or so. He was playing with Braxton Miller, who was a kind of inconsistent freshman last year. And the last couple of games, he actually put up pretty decent numbers, a touchdown against Michigan and a touchdown against Florida in the bowl game as well.
Yeah, as a junior, he averaged 16 yards per catch, had 848 yards. He's fast enough. He still has the records in the 200 meters and the 400 meters at his high school in Cincinnati, LaSalle. He ran a 21.5 in the 200,
wow,
a 47.78 in the quarter. So he's got the speed there that he can do some nice things. Over the career, 18 touchdowns, 1,955 yards. Didn't play at all as a senior, really. Just 4 or 5 games, maybe tops. I mean, there's some promise there. Kubiak said there's some rust as well. You could tell that he missed last season, but it's a fun sort of experiment to have. But he's not an experiment. He's a guy that's going to play for his team eventually.
I mean, obviously, I wonder what role he's going to play this year. It's almost impossible to try to speculate at this point, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, because you've got Andre Johnson, you've got Kevin Walter, and we'll see how that all shakes out.
Yeah.
All things considered, would you say right now, gun to your head, not my head this time, do you think that they would lean towards keeping 6, just given 2 rookies are guaranteed to make this team? Andre's got some issues. Walter, it's not like he's putting up 90 catches per season. Based on all that, do you think it's likely to keep 6 right now?
Wouldn't surprise me at all because you factor in Lestar Jean has been very, very solid.
Yep.
They've liked what they've seen from him both last August, this offseason as well. But they like what Jeff Mail brings to the table and what he does as well. He catches the ball well. I've heard people just very high up the chain say the guy is just a good football player.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 6 players on the 6 receivers on the roster.
Six
Not
players.
surprising at all.
If you were talking about concerns moving forward of this football team, would the wide receiver situation be one of your concerns? Lack of depth or unproven depth, I guess?
I would just say concerns on the whole would be depth-wise on the team.
Okay.
I think you're looking really good with all the starters.
Sure.
Just depth-wise. You always want to bolster depth, and if that's one of your problems,
right,
great problem to have.
All right, we have a lot of questions on the Twitter, and we're going to answer those questions best we can when we come back. Drew Doherty, Mike Meltzer, Brad Davies. This is Texans All Access on Texans Radio, Houston Sports Leader, Sports Radio 610.
You're listening to Texans All Access on Sports Radio 610.